Cool. I know we are recording. Sweet. All right. Nope, real fast. Got some folks joining us today. I'm gonna give like a couple minutes, but like 3 or so minutes for everyone to join. For everyone that is joining currently, well, one, thank you, and then two, since this is a summer travel themed webinar, I would love to know where you would love to go this summer, or just in general, like your ideal destination. And also, I guess in line with that, if you have any favorite summer travel brands, and also Chris, Jen, Christine, Jimmy, and SJ, if y'all have any places, throw those in the chat as well. I would love to see them. I typically ask where you're from, but right now I want to ask where you want to go, because I think that's a pretty cool question.
Love that one, yes.
Turks and Caicos, Hawaii. Disney. I wanted to take an adult Disney trip for a while.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Spain, yes.
Oh, Galapagos. Heck yeah.
Everyone's ready to travel.
Nice.
Oh, Chris, are you in Zanzibar?
I'm not at the moment. No.
Oh, you're going
I wish
to,
I was.
okay.
In a few months, it's my honeymoon.
Dude, it's
So yeah,
amazing.
super excited about that.
Congrats.
We're doing like thank you. We're doing like a week or so safari before in Tanzania, and then hopping over to Zanzibar, which just looks
amazing.
sensational. So any recommendations, Jeff? Chuck them in the chat. I'd love to.
Absolutely.
Love to see
I
it.
wish. You should write a little blog about it. Get some
Yeah. Oh, Bali. I want to go to Bali.
Yeah, Bali's incredible.
Somewhere hot. Texas.
Somewhere, yeah, go to Texas.
Humid though. It is humid.
No, nothing for London. Nothing.
My friend went.
Nobody wants rain in the summer. Rain clouds.
All right, we're about 2 after, and so I'm gonna let people keep on joining in, of course, but I'm gonna go ahead and kick us off real quick. And so yeah, thank you for joining today. I'm Michael from Justuno. We're here for the summer travel webinar with some of our amazing partners, and I'm gonna get these slides up and running real fast. So yeah, some really quick logistics before we do some intros with our speakers and dive into the content here. This webinar is being recorded, and it will be sent out tomorrow to all registrants. So if you have to bounce early, or if you have someone that could make it today, whatever it may be, we will be sending this out. So don't worry there. Additionally, one thing we would love to see during this webinar is questions. Like, we do these events often, but we do them for you. Like, we want to get your questions. Like, we want to know what you want to know, whether it's email, SMS, loyalty, or just brands in general, like anything it is. Send those questions into the chat at any point, whether it's during a presentation or just at any point, and we'll get those questions answered. We want to hear them. We love to hear them. So yeah. So next up, we're going to dive into some quick introductions. So starting with you, Christine, just some quick intros.
Hi, yes, my name is Christine Watson. I'm a director here at Tenuity on the lifecycle marketing team. So Tenuity is a large independent performance marketing agency, and on the lifecycle marketing team, we cover email, SMS, push, and on-site notifications.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, I'm Jimmy Kim. I'm CEO, co-founder of SendLane, an email and SMS marketing automation platform for e-commerce. I'm located here in sunny San Diego, and I've actually been in your shoes as a former D2C founder and also owner and retailer and all that good stuff on my side. Very excited here today to share my decade plus of email experience.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen, the Director of Managed Services here at Coley. I'm calling in from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And my team oversees our full service campaigns where we generate visual assets, both UGC and professional creative, influencer partnerships, and product reviews for our clients.
Hi everyone, I'm Chris, a senior loyalty consultant from Loyalty Line. I'm based here in London. We are a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform powering growth for over 10,000 brands worldwide, helping them really create programs that go beyond points and rewards to drive greater lifetime value and better customer cost-effective acquisition.
Hi everyone, I'm Steph. I am off camera today, sorry, due to internet, but I'm here from Justuno and work with the customer success and support operations team. So really get to work with clients from both perspectives, those that are working hands on with us and those that are managing their account on their own. So love to see the customer journey, and that's really what our focus is at Justuno. So I'm excited to hear from everyone today.
Fantastic. Thanks, SJ. Thank you, everyone. And someone just summed it up in the chat pretty well. Cassidy said, this panel is a spectacular lineup, and I'm very inclined to agree so far. So we can get things rolling. So first up will be Christine from Tenuity. And yeah, so Christine, if you want to take it away, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Great. All right. All right, y'all can see my screen. Perfect. Great, so we're going to start off looking and doing a deeper dive into email and SMS first. So wanted to cover first off, when is it best to use email? So when you're kind of planning out your summer campaigns, we really like to start off using email with much longer form content, especially because you can utilize this to showcase your brand, do a little bit more storytelling. Where SMS, you can kind of really get only one piece of content out there. Email, you can build out much further. In addition, really driving more traffic to multiple pages with various call to actions. So really great for cross-selling, upselling, dynamic content, anything like that. I put in here less time sensitive content. Now you still want to send out your emails of like, hey, summer sale starting now, have that urgency messaging, things ending soon. But some people might not be checking their email right away. They might be checking it hours later, maybe in the evening. So email is really great for kind of, again, less time sensitive content where SMS might be like, quick, get on the sale, hours left kind of messaging. Email is great for long-term contact nurturing and retention. So let's say your product has a 6-month buying cycle. You can create some really robust journeys to bring them along to, again, cross-sell, upsell, and get them to that next purchase. We all know that the world of third-party data is changing as well. So email is an excellent way to gather more zero-party and first-party data, especially to increase that personalization portion. So things like, content that's clicked, open, items that were purchased, abandoned history, preference forms, data. And what's really great is because this is tied to an email address, you can actually utilize a lot of that cross-channel in your other marketing activities.
So as you start thinking about email and you start thinking about SMS and why they're so important together, this is an example of a customer. We wanted to kind of present this to make sure that you understand that there's a power between the reason why you want to combine them together. And as Christine starts to talk about these more and more in these next couple of slides, I wanted to just kind of show you an example of a use case of exactly how an automated email and SMS that are coming through an automation flow can kind of show you a lot of great insight around it. Now, the first thing to remember is not everybody checks email the same way that you might check email. Not everyone checks SMS the same way. And unfortunately, that's one of the things that you've got to start to navigate to learn the preferred channel of each customer and where they're going to most likely make that purchase round. So in this little screenshot here, what you're seeing is a customer who has sent an SMS and an email at the same time. And you'll see something very interesting. It's the same audience, the same core, and you can see the click-through rates of the SMS on the top and then the open rates of the email, kind of pointing out the fact that people are doing different things. Now, with the way that attribution works, which means how it's credited to that sale exact campaign is through a last click. So over a 5-day last click attribution, you can notice that the email and SMS was sent at the same time. However, take a look at this data. You got 435 recipients roughly that received both emails and SMS, and you can see the revenue was split across both of them because one is a little bit more on a coupon side and one's a welcome email, and they're both very effective. But ultimately, in these two sends on a subscription to the list, this company with 400 people have generated $18,000 of revenue, which is $41.90 a customer, simply by making sure that they're communicating on both channels. So here at the next step, Christine is going to take us from here and start to talk about what email and SMS does combined and how to do it.
Awesome. So before we dive into a couple summer content inspiration, there's a couple key things to remember when you do launch email and SMS together. So as Jimmy kind of noted in that example, you don't want to look at your metrics in silos. You really want to make sure you're looking at it together, because a lot of times when you launch SMS, you're going to see some revenue attribution go into your SMS channel, maybe email goes down. So again, you really need to look at the success together. In addition, there's going to be crossover on your list. So make sure you're keeping message fatigue in mind. Sometimes it may be worthwhile sending these messages out together, especially if it's a sale, but sometimes you might want to stagger it, maybe have some time in between, and don't send the same thing out on both channels, because again, that might get a little obnoxious for someone who's receiving both. Thirdly, I think it's really great to take a look at, especially once you get these launched, what audience performs best on which channel. So again, really looking at, do you have someone who's mostly interacting with SMS? Maybe we want to pull back on their email cadence a little bit because we see them interacting and purchasing more from that channel. And this is really easy, especially if you have them both integrated into the same system. And then lastly, it seems like a no-brainer, but I have definitely gotten triggers in the middle of the night from SMS campaigns at like 1 a.m. where it's launching a sale, or maybe it's an abandoned cart. So just really make sure you have your send times in mind and just do that little double check so you're not sending that SMS at 1 a.m. while someone's sleeping. So I wanted to cover some inspiration for summer content. I saw this interesting stat where about 22% of customers have booked their summer vacations within the next 3 months via Adweek, but about 51% said they're somewhat likely to book something in the next 3 months. So I don't think we've missed the boat on summer travel. Again, you see airlines, they've been doing this for months already, heavy promotions. We might see things shift a little bit because, inflation, is a thing and might be influencing purchase behavior. We've seen some e-commerce softening a little bit, but I think now is a really great time to do some sales messaging because people are looking for that. If you are in the travel industry, I did want to cover this is, making sure your creative is really standing out. A lot of the creative I get from the airlines is, picture of Fiji, and then there's a bunch of other places that they're recommending me to go to. But what I liked about this JetBlue one is it was simple, really colorful, covers the summer theme, and really caught my eye, which is great. So really stood out with that simplicity. If you are not a travel brand per se, I think there's some creative ways you can tie in your products. So again, having messaging like getting ready for summer. Vera Bradley, we don't think of them as a travel brand, but they've got luggage. So they have messaging in here, pack it up, getting ready for travel. They're also launching a sale. While it's not an actual summer sale, they're trying to capitalize on people, looking for that right now going into the season. And then this other example, Warby Parker, they're doing more of like a sneak peek VIP for some of their summer products, which is also a great strategy via email as well. So maybe launching it to your email list early on before you put it across other channels on your site is a really great way to, get some extra purchases and get excitement about products heading into the season. Next, really capitalizing on that vacation ready or getting back out there. So this is really easy for the apparel industry. We've got Lime Lush here. They're a women's retailer. So they've got, resort ready, and they've got some curated content on their site, with dresses that might go along with this theme. Bonobos, many people are familiar with this brand. They're speaking to getting out there. They've got great sub content with, summer shorts, t-shirts, things to shop there. And what I like about this middle one here is Skyscanner. they are a travel brand, but you may have not been traveling for a while. So they're taking the approach here of rediscovering travel. They've got easy step-by-step of how to utilize their product again, some messaging at the bottom for safe travel. And again, I really think this is an appealing visual to, again, reintroduce yourself if you are a travel brand and people may not have been utilizing you lately. And then lastly, a couple other inspirations. So again, if you're not a travel brand, there are creative ways to tie this in. So Blenders and Bombas do this really in a really creative way where, they have their products. So they're speaking to, hey, travel, Blenders is tying products into different destinations, which is a really fun way to do this. Bonobos, has their socks here, plus some great cross-sell banner at the bottom of the email. Native, they do, deodorants. And so what they're doing here is they actually tied some of their products into different locations as well to kind of play up that theme. And one thing I really like about this too is it's probably stereotyping myself, but the rosé sub banner that Native had here, tying in that summer drink rosé to a scent, again, to really play up, kind of have like a fun way to present that summer theme across their emails. And then a couple other inspiration ideas, there's very obvious ones here. You want to hit up the big sales like Memorial Day, Father's Day, July 4th, back to school and wedding season. Some things people might not think of is playing on weather. So Brooks Running does a really good job here of, hey, it's hot outside, stay cool with our products. So that's really fun to do. And sometimes you can segment that out too on location as well. If there's like a heat wave back east or something like that, that's something fun to do. And then think about people who may not be ready to travel. There is a large portion of us that, hey, maybe we don't have summer travel booked or we're not ready to get back out there. So there's still some summer themes that you can focus on, like home improvement, outdoor activities, backyard barbecues, anything like that. Now, to take a little bit of a 180 outside the summer content, Q4 is right around the corner. So summer is a key time to start planning for your Q4 activities. And this goes above and beyond of just like, what sale are we going to do on Black Friday? So wanted to highlight 5 tips here that you might not have thought of before. So the first one is really focusing on acquisition during summer season. The larger your list is now, the more opportunities you'll have in Q4. So reviewing your sign-up sources, making sure all of that's working, testing overlay messaging, testing out paid media campaigns to drive traffic to capture more folks on the overlay is a great time to do that. And then also launching SMS now so you can test into it, see what works into your audience well before the busy shopping season. Secondly, gather segmentation data. So some things we've done with clients here is, people who may be purchasing products for summer travel, maybe you can have a segment here for winter travel. Maybe they're not ready to buy within the next 6 months. So kind of gathering all that data now so you can have some creative things in your back pocket for the winter seasons. Again, reactivation campaigns for those summer purchasers to try and get them to, bite on any upsell or cross sell. Third, test. I think everyone will say this, but now's a really great time to test your offers. You don't necessarily want to be doing that in the thick of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but this can help inform your promotional calendar as you get to the holiday season. And then don't forget about your triggers. A lot of times during the holidays, you'll want to pause or just trim the fat on some of your underperforming triggers. So now's a great time to focus on that, see what works, what doesn't. So then you can really kind of scale back on some of that and focus on holiday and promotional messaging during that Q4. Fourth, now this is a controversial topic, but I know many brands get the pressure from leadership to just send everyone in the database on Black Friday. It doesn't matter. We need to get the promo out to everyone. However, that's extremely risky to do during the biggest sale of the year, during Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So if you do need to kind of test the waters there, summer's a great time to do this. Maybe take a small portion of your list, test into some older, less engaged contacts to see if it is even worth sending to. Probably isn't, but if you do run into any deliverability issues, now's the time that you'll have time to hopefully recover by the holidays. But I think more importantly here is just making sure to automate any non-engaged audiences and content that you might have. So especially if you've got people super active in the summer, maybe we can set up some activation campaigns for them in Q4, or if that's your off season. And then fifth, review your tech stack now. So you don't want to be launching new vendors or doing migrations in Q4. So make sure you wrap all of that up by October, because it gives you a little bit of time to just, sort through any challenges that might come up, deliverability issues. If you're onboarding new vendors for maybe loyalty or SMS, do that now. And you typically want to wrap that up by fall. Again, it gives you plenty of time to just pivot if you need to headed into the holidays. And with that, I will hand it over to Jimmy.
All right, let me go ahead and pop this back up and we should be going. All right.
Hey, Jimmy, actually, sorry, real quick. There's a perfect question that I think tees up you and Christine. So it's kind of a quick question for both of y'all. I'm not sure who said it, but they asked if they're seeing SMS become really popular. So should they prioritize gathering phone numbers over email addresses? What do y'all both think? I'm curious.
I personally think you should do both.
Yes.
That's the clear answer. Not getting one or the other is not going to be helpful if you can collect both, but obviously fundamentally email is more important than SMS, but you should be asking for both. I think a lot of the forms will have the optional SMS collect, and that's kind of the incentive. And obviously you can put an incentive behind it to put that SMS. Sorry, Christine, I jumped on top of that.
No, I totally agree with you, Jimmy. I would get both, but if you have to prioritize, get the email first. Because again, that's a little bit more valuable and we've seen more ROI on that. You can use it for cross-channel stuff. And we've seen that work best with those overlays.
Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, Jimmy, take it away.
Awesome. Well, Christine just went through a lot of strategy and tips that you can be thinking about with your email and SMS. And of course, really showing a calendar. So my presentation here today is all about how you can start applying and what to actually do and give you an exact framework that you can create your own summer event marketing. So first things first, what I like to talk about is what is event-based marketing. So the keyword here is event, right? An event or a single instance or behavior taking place. And it's a great way to fire up a summer sale, a product launch, a summer clearance, and so forth. So what I always talk about with events before we jump into this actual breakdown is really thinking about when you go to an event and putting yourselves in that same thought process. Let's say you go to your favorite concert this summer. I hope a lot of you guys are going to go out and enjoy the world as the things are opening. But as you think about the opening of a concert, right? You go and you see an opener, then you got a main show, then you got an encore, and then even sometimes a second show behind that as well too. And what you've got to think about is how do you create that in real life experience into a digital format to be able to kind of fuel your brand to make revenue this summer, especially when it's a little slower and people are out there, but you can still create great events. Christine gave a great calendar of ideas from summer barbecues to 4th of July. There's a lot of different things that you can kind of peg your stake on. And as long as you have email and SMS contacts, you can create your own revenue with this as well. So I'm going to jump into literally a framework that builds out exactly what should be happening each and every step of the way, who you should be targeting, what the message should be. And we're going to go through this each slide by slide. So first thing is the pre-sale. To start off, I think that one thing that people forget is to pre-sell, to sell the sizzle. You know, when you're in a restaurant and you smell and you're sitting there and you ordered some food, or like, let's just say fajitas, for example, I'm in San Diego, so it makes sense. You hear the sizzle coming out of the kitchen and you kind of know that might be your fajitas ultimately, right? And you look for that. And so the same idea, getting someone to pre-sell that sizzle essentially, right? And you want to go in there and think about all your different segments. So starting off your current customers, your VIPs, your subscribers that are subscribers but have not purchased, because your intent and goal is to get them into being a buyer, right? And making sure you have these segments, and each one of those are going to probably have different messaging, but it's important to split those people up because that message should be different to each one of those. So the messaging is an introduction, a reminder of the brand and the mission and why this sale or this event is so special, and you want to create that hype behind it. And when it launches, you got to be very clear about that, when it happens and when it launches, right? So then we jump into the introduction. It's time to introduce exactly what we're doing. And then we start off with an email, because email still is the best way to create long form content, just like Christine said earlier, right? Again, same segments. You've got your current customers and your subscribers. You want to keep them separate. Again, you need to measure your ROI of these people. So you want to create that. And what that's going to create is messaging behind that. So you've got a clear and direct messaging about the sale. Remind them about the first email, what that whole idea about that pre-sale was, and continue to sell the sizzle of what it is to create clear call to actions to get them in to click on it to learn more about that sale. Then we jump right into an introduction SMS because you've got these SMSs. Same segments, the only difference is start making sure, this is really important, where your tools need to be working together. And we'll talk about that a little bit more, but making sure that the customers who did not buy from that first email and subscribers who did not buy, and making sure you're still attacking them with an SMS. And it's all about a reminder to the introduction email, pointing them back at that email, giving clear CTAs, and making sure that if you don't have an SMS, use it in an email format and reiterate exactly what just happened. Then you'll jump right into a branding and education email. This is really important because people out there, especially the younger generations, are really understanding the mission and the understanding of the brand and the why behind the brand as well too. So again, the same segments, the people who are current, recent active, did not buy, subscribers active over the last 60 days, again, who did not buy. And the messaging is really about selling the mission, the brand, the focus, the why behind what you're out there doing, and focus on how and what the products do ultimately for. Now, I know you might have a lot of products and that makes it a little bit more difficult, but finding that core of what your products are is really important here, and making sure that you're selling the outcome and the benefit. It's still a sales email. It's just positioned in a content way to teach people, right? And then you jump right into an SMS again, right? A reminder SMS, I like to call it. Again, same segments, current customers who didn't engage, who bought, you want to kind of keep that core focus because, again, as Christine mentioned, people are traveling. So if they're traveling, you don't need to waste SMS credits, nor do you need to waste email credits on the people who are not engaging with the first couple emails and SMSs that you're sending out. The messaging should be a recap of the offer, the sale. Give them a coupon at this point if you need to. Give them a time frame of when it actually ends, and send this as an email again if there's no SMS available. Then comes the first closing soon email. This closing soon email is very simple. Again, the same segment, current customers who didn't buy, current subscribers who are engaged, and you're going to send them a message. It's time to build that urgency. Things are closing, clear and closing expiration date. A recap of the offer so they know exactly what they are going to miss out on if they don't do it, and a reminder of that last chance ultimately. Then you jump into the closing email. The first closing email is, again, the same thing. Engage subscribers and customers. The messaging is here. Final call, clear time, clear offer, clear CTA. You guys see the impact? You want to make sure that they know exactly what they're coming into. And then you hit them with the first SMS, the 12-hour SMS, which is, hey, you got 12 hours left, essentially. This is the last chance. Your warning, your FOMO, whatever you want to kind of position it as. This is the sale that's going away. A 12-hour warning graphic is a great way to use MMS with your SMS now. This is a useful way to kind of showcase, here's the 30% off summer sizzle sale that you've got going on, expiring at midnight, July 8th, for example, right? Being able to say that all in a image is where MMS gets really powerful. And then again, if you don't have the SMS, make sure you're segmenting out those you don't receive the SMS and send that email out to those people. Then you got the 3-hour SMS, right? So again, you've got 3 hours left. There's no more impactful way to get in front of the customer as fast as possible. And SMS is really that powerful way of doing that. And this is where it comes in, right? Active customers last 4 emails did not purchase. Subscribers engaged did not purchase. Notice that. Keeping the window really tight to the people that have engaged with your email and SMS through this journey are the people you want to connect with, right? So the messaging, again, a direct link, messaging clear. There's 3 hours left, right? Send us an email if you don't have it available as well. Then we turn into, and this is optional, you turn it into a break. 24 to 48 hours, close down all the website changes, the coupons, the pop-ups, and cool it down and let it go. Now, this is important because especially in the summertime, you can use this framework anytime, but in the summertime, when people are traveling, well, they might have missed it and they might be a little upset about it. Well, that's okay because we're going to do an encore. So your first encore email is very simple. Customers who engage with the series but did not buy, customers who engage, subscribers that engage but did not buy. You're going to send them a messaging. Tell the story. Tell the story. It's summer. People are traveling. People miss the sales. Well, from the large demand of people asking, we're bringing it back for another 24 to 48 hours. Share that this is an encore. This is truly the last chance that they can move on this. And that's what you want to think about. A direct sale, no tricks, no gimmicks, really focusing on the sale and the ask to buy. And then we follow that with an encore SMS right away, right? You've got the same segments, no surprise there. The messaging is a quick recap, clear terms, clear CTA, and a clear final chance, because that's going to get people to know, no, there's no ambiguity to it. This is it. This is the last time it's going to happen. And then we wrap that up with an email if they don't. And then, of course, we jump into the final and last call. Same thing with the segments. There's no tricks to that again. Last chance, clear CTA, and sell the benefit and a clear closing last email, closing the loop of an event, which will get people in there and obviously create the sales that you want. So with all that, I've created a couple tips and goals that we need to be thinking about, and especially on this webinar that you'll be picking up here today, you've got the tips, right? Let's think about the tips that we have. First, create personalized site experience. Using this product like Justuno, who's the host of this webinar, you can create great on-site experiences so they can go from email to your website and create that longevity experience where they feel like that's connected. It's very important. Then you've got tools that you want to make sure that you can make it memorable, copy, colors, design. It all matters. Using Cooley, for example, you can create those things and making sure you have the right assets to make sure that you're really standing out. Making sure you continue to share and reshare your brand mission. Obviously, Tenuity is here who creates those things and helps you create those foundations there. Making sure you can go out there and create that story. And then last, having a truly unified tool. The biggest problem with the lack of unification of your tool is the lack of time, the delay of data. You guys saw some of the things that I talked about, a 12-hour and a 3-hour trigger. Well, if I told you some of the tools and integrations have a 12 to 24-hour delay in bringing that SMS data to your email provider or email to SMS provider, well, you can't play this playbook because you can't create time fast enough. So making sure you have the right delay, making sure you don't have the delays, making sure you have a truly unified tool is really important, especially as we continue to move into this future of the world of change that's happening in the world. So that drives us to the goals. So what are the goals between this entire event-based playbook? Very simple. One, generate more sales and shorten purchase cycles, right? That's the thing you want, right? You want to continue to build loyal community using a tool like Loyalty Line. You want to be able to get people loyal and, avid fans, raving fans out there talking about you, wanting to learn about it. And that's what you want to continue to do even with a sale like this, because the sale is very targeted. People know it's a sale. People know it's a special event. Therefore, it's okay to promote them. It's okay to send them emails, and it's okay to remind them. And ultimately, the final goal is, of course, to increase your LTV of your existing customers, which is where SendLane really comes into place. That's really where you want to continue to think about this as well, too. So there we go. That's event-based marketing, and hopefully that should give you a great thing, and that comes over to Cooley.
Awesome. Thank you, Jimmy. That was fantastic. And I would have to say, pretty convenient that SendLane showed up twice on your last slide there.
I don't know how that happened.
No, but thank you very much. And I just realized we're about a little under halfway through this webinar. So in that spirit, I had to get out my sun hat to match Chris because he was flexing on me a little too hard. And then second, just to see who's paying attention, I recently applied to a sunscreen company and I got rejected. So what should I do? I should reapply. Thank you, everyone. All right, Jen, take it away.
Dad joke for the win. Thanks. Great segue into talking about content. All right, let's talk about content strategies and how to use creators and UGC in your marketing channels for summer. So for those of you that don't know Cooley, we are a content generation and testing platform. And that platform connects content creators to brands like all of you to generate photos and videos for use in your ads and marketing. So content generation and testing at scale is really our bread and butter here at Cooley. And that is why I'm here talking to you today as your content and UGC expert. Okay, so let's first define what I mean by UGC here, because it can be defined differently depending on who you're talking to. So what I mean by UGC for today's purposes is controlled content outsourced to creators. So you're leveraging third-party content creators, giving them a creative brief to guide them on the type of content you're looking for, but they still do have creative freedom to add their own creativity and style to show your brand in an authentic way. This is in comparison to uncontrolled or organic UGC, where your customers are organically posting or creating content on their own with no direction from your brand, and you don't necessarily have the rights to use the content unless you ask for permission after the fact. So that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about controlled UGC. And the important distinction between UGC on the left and professional content on the right is that it's not always focused on perfectly curated aesthetics. So that doesn't mean that UGC is ugly content. Rather, the focus is on authenticity and showing how real users are interacting with your brand, like they're often taken on a phone and showing people in the moment with your brand. So that's the same thing for video. I'm going to show you a comparison of professional content versus UGC. So I'll start with professional. So this is a Royal Caribbean video that was posted on TikTok. All right, let me try this again with sound. So you can see it has that professional broadcast look and feel. Now let's compare it to UGC content for the same brand, same campaign with the weekend like you mean it theme, but leveraging UGC and content creators for it.
Hey you, it's time to get off the couch and weekend like you mean it.
Jump aboard the Navigator of the Seas, leaving out of Los Angeles to destinations like Ensenada, Catalina, Cabo, Vallarta, and Mazatlan. I'm so excited to experience the 2 water slides aboard the Blaster, Aqua Coaster, and Riptide. Plus, experience the many bars and restaurants aboard to make your weekend count. Step out of your comfort zone because it's time to weekend like you mean it aboard the Navigator of the Seas.
Hey you, it's time to...
All right, so you get a good feel for the difference, how you're leveraging different content creation techniques to get these assets. So if you've heard of any of your team members saying any of these things, leveraging UGC may actually be a really great solution for you. So the first one, my creative team doesn't have enough bandwidth or lead time to create seasonal assets. Outsourcing content generation to creators is a great way to augment what you're already doing in-house, not only to get a wider variety of content, but also to free up your own team bandwidth, especially for seasonal assets like specifically summer content that it might be short-lived versus evergreen. And a lot of your in-house teams need a really long lead time to create content. Content creators can generally churn it out a lot faster because there's not as high production involvement. So the second, I don't have enough channel specific content quantity and variety to run ads on an ongoing basis. You heard Christine say it, test, test, test. We'll say the same thing across all of your ad channels. And channel specific is key here because you shouldn't be using the same content on Facebook or TikTok, Pinterest or display. Each channel is going to have their own nuances, require their own testing. And leveraging content creators really gets you diversity in content locations and faces of people, in styles of the content, so you can really hone in on what works best in each channel. And it's not as simple as cropping each asset to the asset ratio needed for different channels. You're really missing out on optimizing your content for that specific marketing channel and leaving money on the table if you're not doing that. And then third, all my content is professionally created and repurposed for social ads. There is definitely a time and place where professional assets are going to perform best, might work on that channel, but especially with social ads, you need to test UGC as it tends to perform best and have the most scroll stopping power when people are on these social media sites and apps. We've worked with brands time and time again who have been able to increase their ad performance, particularly on social, but also in email marketing and other channels by testing out UGC. I think the bottom line is you don't know until you've tested it. And so you definitely need to at least put it into your testing strategy if you're not already. All right, so why should I leverage content creators for UGC? We can't all be like Nike where people are posting about your brand organically every day. And even if they are, a lot of that content is unusable ads either because they weren't optimized for ads and show a competitor, or you don't have a solution to get those usage rights. So when you're working with content creators, you're giving them a creative brief of messaging guidelines, do's and don'ts, while also allowing them to bring their own creativity and authenticity to the content. So you get the perfect mix of controlled UGC with usage rights. So if you look at these photos in this slide, these are photos that came from a campaign where Samsonite used the Coley platform to generate content for marketing. You can see there's a huge diversity in faces and locations. You'll see international locations here, urban, in airport, in hotels. And they're getting this from a variety of using different content creators versus if they did their own expensive in-house shoot at one location with maybe 5 models. UGC here really expands their ability to use different creative. And then you'll get insight into how real people are interacting with and interpreting your brand. So yes, it's controlled, but these creators are still bringing the product or your brand to life on their own through their own creativity. So some best practices here for UGC and working with content creators. The first is negotiate content rights from influencer partnerships. So you might already be working with influencers and you can leverage the UGC that they're creating already and making sure that you're negotiating content usage rights to leverage in marketing channels. So these examples on the right are for Ren Skincare. This is an SPF product that they really push out in the summer. These photos came from influencer partnerships where they worked with the creators to post on Instagram, but then they also got the usage rights to be able to leverage in marketing channels. The second thing you can consider is working with content creators for assets only. And this is honestly what we would suggest most of the time if ad optimization is your number one priority. So this is where creators wouldn't actually be posting on social, but just generating content for you. The ROI that you get from a one-time social post isn't quite as far as the ROI you can get from using the assets over and over again in different testing channels. And then also the difference, what you'll find and how you can increase ad performance by testing UGC. The third, generate diverse asset types. Try out videos, photos, boomerangs. You don't know what works best yet until you try it, especially for different channels. We've worked with a company where they found that 3-second boomerangs was their best performing ad content. And then they were able to leverage content creators to just create tons of boomerangs for their assets, for their ads. So you don't know until you try. Generate channel-specific content and research the trends of each channel. I've talked about this over and over again, but you really do need to make sure that your assets are optimized for the channel you're activating them in. And then leverage a content creator platform to scale content generation and testing. It's great to conduct some testing on your own before you're ready to scale, but when you find that you're ready to generate assets at the scale you need to, you will need a solution or platform to do it effectively and efficiently versus DMing creators and sending individual contracts and tracking communication and email. A lot of you are probably doing that right now. And it's a great solution to start and get your foot on the ground. But at Coley, we're really helping you scale content. And we're actually the only ones that have this, but we even have an integration with Klaviyo that allows you to automate the testing of Coley content in your cart abandonment emails to track how it improves CTRs. So there's definitely a lot of tools and resources out there for you to be able to scale versus relying on your own team to reach out to creators and test that way. So last year, I just wanted to show you another example of how you can bring UGC to life and really make sure you're using it in the best way to repurpose across different channels. So this is an example of Ann Taylor using the Coley platform. At the top here, this was the original social post where the creator posted an influencer post on Instagram. And then on the Coley platform, because you get usage rights in perpetuity, they also get the actual original asset that was used for the post. And they were able to send it to their email team to use it in their email creative. And they found that using UGC content improved email CTRs by 21%. All right, and now I'm going to hand it off to Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. That was awesome. And I actually have a quick question for you. And with your content creators, it might be kind of an odd question, but is there almost ever an issue where the organic content is too well done to the point where it looks just as professional as, a professional, service,
Yeah, I mean, define too well done because, so I think with UGC, a common misconception is like, oh, it has to look bad or like taken sloppily on a cell phone in order to be considered UGC. But professional content is a part of what Coley does too. And we outsource professional photographers to get you content too. So I would say the right way to look at it is let's test how different types of content performs. Professional content might actually perform better in some channels, whereas like a grainy, maybe shaky video actually performs best on Facebook. You never know. It does actually happen because people don't think it's an ad. They think a person really posted it. It feels more relatable. So that's how I would think about the content quality when you're working with creators in UGC.
Sure. Okay. Now that makes a lot of sense. And I just was thinking about it because I got like one of the new iPhones or whatever, and you take a casual picture and it's ridiculously good. It's like, it's too nice of a camera almost. And so it just got me thinking, but thank you very much. But yeah, so Chris, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, cheers, Michael, and no modesty for your camera skills there, eh? So yeah, so I'm going to be taking you through how to turn one-off holiday shoppers into frequent flyers. So I'm Chris. I'm a senior loyalty consultant at Loyalty Line. If you missed it at the start, we're a data-driven loyalty and engagement platform. We power growth for over 10,000 brands now worldwide, really helping them take loyalty beyond just points and rewards. So how to drive more customer lifetime value and more cost-effective acquisition. I'm actually, like I said, I'm going on a couple of holidays myself, including my honeymoons. So my wish lists are absolutely bulging at the moment. But let's talk a little bit about the opportunity for us this summer, because after 2 years of lockdowns, like Christine mentioned earlier, travel's firmly back on the agenda. The great news for e-commerce merchants is that with those holiday plans comes holiday shopping. New sunglasses, new hats, new suitcase, and most people see it as the time to give their wardrobes a bit of a refresh. And this is probably going to be more so the case this year because customers probably haven't touched those holiday wardrobes in the last couple of years. So their list could be pretty long. On top of that, you've got all of those essentials. You've got your sun creams, you've got your after sun, travel shampoos, travel shampoo bottles. So it's pretty much, going to cover most merchants. So massive opportunity. But with every opportunity, there comes a challenge, right? So a few things that we need to bear in mind this summer season. First of all, summer holiday shoppers are probably going to be looking for one-off purchases. So just to kind of get them through their vacations. However, you're probably going to be spending the same amount to acquire these shoppers as any others, despite the fact that their lifetime value could work out much lower. So this might give you a great spike in sales over the summer, but it doesn't give you sustainable growth. Secondly, your competition's back to its peak. So not only now are you competing with other online stores selling with similar products, offline retail's back in play. Many of your holiday shoppers are going to be tempted in store to make those ad hoc purchases as and when they see them. And finally, and we're all feeling it, we're feeling the pinch, the cost of living crisis, inflation is affecting so many people. And what we're finding is that disposable income shrunk, and particularly since people probably booked their holidays. So those big plans for holiday shopping lists might be a little bit more measured as people make do with what they've got rather than what they might have otherwise. So 3 things to think about. How do you stand out from the competition to get those holiday shoppers through the door? B, keep the costs of acquiring these customers with a lower lifetime value to a minimum to deliver the greatest ROI. And C, probably the most important one, build some kind of relationship with these shoppers so that they come back to buy from you again. So let's look at those points a little bit further. Today, conscious consumerism is so hot on the agenda. About 90% of millennials will buy from a brand if they believe their social and environmental claims. And they'll absolutely boycott brands if they're found guilty of greenwashing and not living up to those claims. This shift in behavior is really going to apply to holiday shoppers as well. Shoppers who are careful about who they buy from are unlikely to put their values aside for their holiday shopping spree. So this actually gives you a great opportunity to attract new customers through emotional connections. If you can stand out from all the other stores selling the same or similar products as you, by showing shoppers you're emotionally aligned with them and by telling them the brand, your brand story, your values, and what you stand for. The extension of this, though, and arguably probably the most powerful part, is giving the shoppers the chance to support the causes they care about just by shopping with you. So more and more we're seeing brands incorporate charitable causes into their loyalty programs, for example. I'm seeing dog food brands offer customers the opportunity to redeem points for donating meals to shelter dogs. Or as you can see on screen here, Zorali's Tree Keeper Rewards program, which lets customers both through points and purchases and other non-transactional activities like social media follows, trade in those points to plant 10 trees. So we're seeing loads of brands use their loyalty programs to reflect the values they claim to live by, and it's really great to see just how well those programs are performing. And then with the high street very much back in action, more and more people returning to work, shoppers are probably going to be accidentally ticking off items as they go from A to B, rather than waiting for that dedicated online shopping session. So you want to be as top of mind as much as possible with your customers. So a great way to do this is push your loyalty program data, such as points balances and available rewards, into your ESP and SMS platform. This means that you can be regularly pushing messages around those available rewards to customers, whether they're at home or not. So an email or a text letting them know they've got a reward to redeem could be the thing that makes them walk past the store and come home to visit your online site instead. And as you can see here, loyalty line customer Bath and Unwind, who are actually the winners of our best loyalty promotions award in our Hall of Fame last year, do a fantastic job of emails letting customers know that they've got points and reminding them how to redeem them. They do a really good job of our next suggestion as well, which is bonus point promotions such as triple rewards days. Bonus points are on the holiday products customers are shopping for, are going to encourage them to come online and shop with you rather than shopping around. And as the summer approaches, you could run a double or triple points promotion on the products you know are going to be flying off the shelves, such as swimwear or sun cream. The best way to make sure that customers think of you first when they go to do their holiday shopping is making them recognized and feel valued as an individual. Your most valuable customers should be getting a first-class experience and being made to feel like VIPs. I mean, yeah, this is the whole premise of a loyalty program, but there's a couple of things here to particularly highlight. The first is giving them early access to sales on new product lines. If you're launching a new range of sunglasses, new scent, new sun cream, let your VIP customers know first. We also suggest giving customers other experiential perks, things that aren't just transactional, such as these might be as simple as free shipping or free gifts with their purchases. And these small things can cost you, they cost you very little, and especially if you only deploy them to your customers with the highest lifetime value, it's going to have a lesser effect on your margins. But it's this sort of surprise and delight, it's really going to help you retain customers and drive those repeat purchases. You can also use that. We've seen merchants do that as a way to kind of shift excess inventory, stuff that's not selling so well. So it's a bit of a double win there. A great example of someone that does this is Skinny Dip. So their loyalty program is tier based, and they've made this so fantastically on brand and very relevant to what we're talking about today. But as customers spend with them, they unlock different experiences as they spend more and accumulate more points. So program members who make it to the third tier, the boarding tier, get those free delivery days that I mentioned, early access to sales and promotions. And then there's those who make it further up to the takeoff tier can get even more perks like exclusive access to events. So this is the sort of thing that's going to really build that bond with the customer, but also, you're showing them that they're getting far more value in exchange for their investment in you. The unfortunate truth is that really ad spend is increasing, and this is so true around competitive seasons. It'd be so easy to blow a massive ad budget quite quickly, and yes, you probably would get a lot of clicks and convert some of those customers, but without the great content to build trust and convert them, you might struggle turning those into customers or prevent them from going with a competitor instead. So this is where the power of your existing customer base comes in, because their reviews and recommendations are going to be probably the most powerful ammunition for convincing new shoppers to spend with you. So use your loyalty program to encourage them to advocate for your brand, and you will unlock an entirely new and very cost-effective acquisition channel. For example, integrate your program with a reviews provider like Akendo or Lux, and award customers who leave you reviews additional points. You can even offer more points for a photo or video review, that very authentic UGC that Jen was talking about. And then you'll have a bank of amazing content to add to your product pages or use across your social media. You can also incentivize referrals, and your brand advocates are going to be the ones that are going to be doing this for you and shouting about your brand. A customer that is referred to you by a friend or family is about 4 times more likely to convert. And you can then combine these strategies as well. Send a review to referrer emails to encourage anyone that left a review to refer a friend as well for bonus points. A great example of this comes from deodorant brand Nude, another loyalty line Hall of Fame winner, and they use a combination of on-site referral prompts, emails, and social media posts to drive as many referrals from their customers as possible, and giving both the advocate and new customer rewards for a successful referral, so making it that mutually beneficial exchange. And last but not least, how do you turn those one-time purchases into a community of customers that you have an ongoing relationship with? So I mentioned tiers with Skinny Dip, but there's so many different iterations of this that drive customers to return and engage with your brand over and again, even if they're not making a purchase. One of my favorite examples is Australian skincare brand Esme Skin Minerals. They've got a similar tiered approach to Skinny Dip, but the difference is that the top tier is actually locked. Customers can't see what benefits they get if they reach the elusive black tier, but this just motivates them more to try and get there. They want to be in that exclusive club and benefit from more experiential rewards that others can't access. Things like invitations to events, the ability to contribute to product discussions and focus groups, and so on and so forth. This top tier can then become its own customer community in itself, where shoppers can interact with other customers who share the same interests and passions, recommend products to each other. This is going to really help you build that long-lasting relationship with those holiday shoppers. So whether they're looking to buy again next month or next year when they go away again, they'll think of you first. So before we move on and I hand over, here are my kind of 4 top tips to give yourself the best chance of retaining your holiday shoppers once those sort of post-holiday blues kick in. Firstly, think about your tech stack. Ask yourself, are all your tools and platforms talking to each other in a way that means you can deliver the most personalized experience? Secondly, have a clear owner of your retention program. Does your retention activity fall by the wayside, or do you have someone taking accountability for this? Thirdly, know what success looks like. Before the holiday season starts, sit down and work out exactly what sort of revenue you want from your existing customers and in terms of revenue and advocacy, because then you'll be able to work out the value of your insider community at the end of the season. And finally, are you using your loyalty data effectively? Can you segment your most valuable customers so that they get the best experiences? Are you able to pass data like points balances and rewards from one platform or another to deliver personalized communications? This really is the key to making customers feel special so that they return to purchase again. So that's it from me. So yeah, good luck with your summer campaigns. And if anyone wants to talk more about retention strategies, I'm on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
Pass over to Steph.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So quick question came in from the chat actually, and it is odd doing this in such a hat, but but
I've got the mic underneath the hat as well.
Catherine wants to know, what are some of the most creative loyalty rewards you've seen?
Oh, I could probably go on all day. If I had to pick one, I probably show this on 99% of my calls. Check out a pet food company called Edgard & Cooper. They have gone to the next level in terms of gamification of their rewards. So it's almost like a level rank system that you unlock a reward at each level. And they've really integrated this with, getting points for reading about our brand story, or reading our blog post, completing your sort of pet profile. And then you can claim that reward either for a discount or donating to a shelter dog, meal to a shelter dog, or planting a tree. So they've also called their points belly rubs as well. So, I just love that extra level of personalization and relevance that they've put into that. So I 100% recommend checking them out.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And actually, I just also wanted to say, I love the tie-in to the holiday season too. If you start now in the summer, Christine, this is kind of going back to what you said, starting all this now really helps and informs your holiday season. It's the biggest time of the year, sales-wise, most often. So I thought that was really great. Cool. Now then, so we're gonna hop on to SJ, and I will be sharing my screen for her. So I'll get that started.
You.
Go. All right, take it away.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I've learned so much so far, the benefit of going last. So kind of feed off of all of that. So I am SJ, and I'm going to be reviewing some tips from a CRO perspective. So conversion rate optimization, and conversion rate can kind of be, getting that sale or maybe getting someone to actually opt in. So Justuno's focus is to optimize that journey, and we'll see some industry averages here. And the goal is to work on that unique setup. So right now, like really where we've all synced up is, and in the end, we're getting people to that on-site experience or wherever they're purchasing from you, whether that's social commerce that you're utilizing or any kind of Amazon or off-site options as well. So all of these strategies and flows that have been shared, like that's what goes into these industry averages that we see on site. So these are the benchmarks we can keep in mind when we think about how we want our pop-ups to impact the on-site journey and your website's overall performance. So time on site, you'll see the increase was 5 minutes. So from 2 to 7 minutes in this industry, that just shows me interest and an ability for this industry to compete when the right messaging is being shown. So just knowing when to pitch yourself another time, when to pitch your brand and your product just one more time. And that can come in the form of a really great welcome offer that is curated based on the source, as everyone has touched on, like where someone's coming from, and making sure you're mirroring that creative that Coley is going to be testing for you ideally, and what that setup looks for you. So time on site, we're getting them to continue that browsing session on site, and also allowing them more time to get to know your brand that can maybe influence a purchase later that evening or the next day. which goes into a whole nother realm of just when we're targeting someone with the right messaging too. So these stats that you see, it's not to say that we should be covering your website in all of these promotions that aim to increase conversion rate and engagement, but these are the results of using them strategically to elevate and optimize all of your marketing efforts. So now we'll dive into 2 of the biggest tips for travel brands this year and some real life examples, and plus how you non-travel brands can get in on the fun with strategic campaigns. Yes, so travel is more than just a plane ticket. And we want to consider every element of the trip. Like everyone's mentioned here, that can look just like we saw the Vera Bradley example. We don't really think of that maybe as luggage. So thinking about the destination that someone may be going to, the gifts you may buy, sports equipment, etc. We want to think outside of the box here. Oh, thank you. So when we want to leverage wanderlust, what we really want to focus on is playing into that UGC, so user-generated content that you want to use, and making sure that we're seeking out or testing at least imagery in UGC that's relevant here. So Coley touched on that in a great way, and that's exactly what you can do in your pop-ups. So whether you're testing it off-site, make sure you're testing that on-site as well so that experience is in sync with all of your efforts. We also want to create campaigns based on travel trends. So we've touched on that in email and SMS, and with Justuno, you're able to use advanced geolocation to target and use those advanced rules to accomplish this kind of custom experience. So right now we have different things happening with the climate, right? So being the most relevant, acknowledging, like this area is going through a heat wave right now. Let's try to upsell or cross-sell this category. Going that extra mile can look to increase your average order value by 10, 15% if you're targeting it and setting up your creative all in the right way. And then the last point that I'll call out here is getting that outside mentality. So understand their destinations by asking questions. And what's really great about Justuno is that you can ask these questions in real time. So if you already have someone's email, that's great. On their next visit, ask them what they're shopping for, who they're shopping for, the reason for shopping. So don't be afraid to kind of make that more of an interaction. I think someone mentioned it doesn't always have to be that conversion focus. It can just be about extending that relationship just one more day, trying to get extra info in that one engagement. Cool, we can go, perfect, thank you. All right, so strategies for social optimization. When you're doing social, at least with my clients, I really see us focusing on creative and messaging that's relevant to the source. So truly everything that we saw Coley speaking to, that's what you can use your creative in pop-ups as well. So all about that on-site journey. And when you're getting on site, you're going to want to implement messaging that really translate to where they are on their site. So if they're leaving, what are you looking for? Sorry, we didn't have what you were looking for if it's an out of stock page. So using those hints that are already set up on your e-commerce platform, you can target and set up promotions to really address that type of visitor specifically. So a little bit more work goes a long way. And ultimately, we're all looking to Black Friday and Cyber Monday and seeing what works best there. So I think we've mentioned it too. This is just the best time to test these kinds of things. Moving on this one. Influencer campaigns, these can be executed in so many ways. Of course, we have UTM-based targeting, and you can combine that with geo-targeting too. So that the idea with that is casting a wider net to increase impressions on that pop-up while continuing to target an appropriate segment. So just to say that there are segments, right? And then there's different ways to target this type of segment, whether to get a very perhaps qualified group or someone that's a little higher in the purchase funnel, for example. Ready for the next one, Michael? Great, so this is an awesome slide that we borrowed here. And the idea is where really Justuno can fit in to supercharge your email with conversion rate optimization in mind. So you'll see those X's there, and then you'll see on the right-hand side, we have kind of what we would want to place in that moment. So before that intro email, right, if they're arriving on site, let's show them a lead capture. And that lead capture, that's where we test, we're mirroring from source, And if they're coming from email, maybe we're trying to capture SMS in that way. So just another strategy to kind of break through that flow. The second option, a returning visitor, we're seeing them between your two email and SMS flows. So in that area, that's where if they are arriving on site and we haven't received the email, we can retarget with either a new creative or some sense of urgency in order to get that engagement that we want. And maybe that looks like asking a little bit more of that personalized question. I've seen that work really well in increasing engagement, and it's all based on kind of, how you're presenting your brand afterwards too. So I would definitely keep that in mind. Our third X here, we have an on-site banner with timer. This is a classic. You'll probably see this just as a native feature within your e-commerce platform, a banner. The benefit of using a platform like Justuno for this is that you do get the analytics behind that. So if we're adding a CTA in that banner, or just having some sort of next step for a coupon code, for example, we can track that engagement and know how effective it was when someone actually arrived on site, and understand if a banner was the right design, or if this visitor needs more of a full pop-up or a corner pop-up to get that type of engagement. Or I guess I should say conversion if we want that. And then our last X here in our encore section, I truly love this section. It's like I expect the encore, and I don't hate when it comes, but it's just like, okay, I knew they were going to give me the time. So this actually just happened to me with a snowboarding pass. So I love the encore section. But this is where, if they're on site, we're mirroring that last chance promotion. So it kind of depends on what your strategy is here. At this point, we can really target all visitors arriving on site. And maybe that looks like new or just return visitors, or we can segment and show this last chance to only subscribed visitors, or only those that have engaged with email and SMS. So speaking to what Chris was saying, really segmenting out that VIP list in order to make them feel special and retain them much longer, or increase average order value. We can really do a lot. Cool, I'm ready for the next one, Michael.
Yep, sorry, just
All good.
I think my slide deck froze up.
Oops.
There we go.
Nice.
All right, there we go.
Thank you. Cool. And last, we'll get to this packing list for CRO. So I love the terminology here. Really, of course, we want to focus on easy site navigation. And from my perspective in working with clients, that means making sure pop-ups aren't blocking your slide out cart if you have that on the mobile experience, also known as the Ajax cart, making sure that your search menu is accessible when pop-ups are live, or if you have a banner live. So just checking through that whole experience, which our team on the managed services side is very hands-on in live testing those pop-ups for you. So that's a way, or of course, if you have that availability, testing that live to see what experience your visitors are going through. And then of course, any other steps to continue browsing, not only to convert. I know we always want to preserve that journey, but also just the steps in browsing. There's such a group that researches, and those are really qualified buyers that are probably going to stick around if they end up doing a lot of research, comparing you to other competitors and coming back. That's just a lot of, they've already gotten all that ammo for you to really upsell or cross-sell in the future. Cool. So we also want to make the most out of each visit by learning more about visitors. So I mentioned that earlier. So we can also sync these opt-ins to your other ad platforms like Google and Facebook. If you are a smaller team, this is really great. You really don't even have to think about it. You're capturing opt-ins from a welcome email from new visitors, and then you're plugging those emails into your ad platform to have a really great audience to target that you already know is qualified or semi-qualified in some way. And then loyalty programs, they are a beautiful thing. I'm right there with Michael in that I'm just a sucker for them. I'm so curious. I want to see what they have. I think McDonald's just has the best one for me, but they recently changed it. So I'm let's see how this is. So that's just something that we would love to consider on site as well. In the same way that you can target VIP customers for email, you can also target those VIP visitors or customers on site with Justuno. And that's really because we're able to sync with your e-commerce platform. So ideally with a pop-up in this case, we want to make it really easy for them to sign up or remind them of what it takes to redeem or use those offers or those points. So there may be many points in the journey that we can use as a signal for when maybe extra points is the right offer. And that's just all about testing and really understanding your visitor. So I will leave us with just test it out, ask yourself 5 questions that really help you get to the root of the problem or the issue or the KPI that you have in mind and see what kind of testing comes from that, because these are just really prime months to see what that traffic is doing and use that for your holiday time. Cool, that wraps it up for me.
Cool.
Please, ask me questions.
Awesome. Thank you, SJ. My deck froze up again, I think. There we go. All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, SJ. So we have about 5 minutes left, and would love to get some questions answered. So if there are any final ones in the chat, and one I wanted to go back to actually was with starting with SMS. I just wanted to kind of give more or less a shameless plug, but when you're capturing your email and SMS, you can combine those. And SJ, we have those awesome 2-step forms, where you can get the email and then the SMS and all that. So if that's any sort of issue, Tenuity, SendLane, Justuno, like we're all like, please, some SMS is huge. And that wasn't really a question, more just a plug. So I apologize for that. Let me find a real question. And I believe, so Jimmy, this is for you, for around tips and strategies related to win-back flows. Are there any particular examples or strategies that come to mind for win-back flows?
We could have a whole webinar about that, I'm sure, right now. That's not really something I can just answer off top. There's a lot of strategies with it, but ultimately it starts with the segmentation, knowing your audience, knowing the life cycle, and catching them before they exit that life cycle at the end of the day, which means that they are unengaged, unsubscribed, and everything, and making sure you're being ahead of it. But there's a lot on that. Unfortunately, I don't think we have enough time to talk about this, nor am I prepared to kind of show examples around it. But sure. There's a lot of great stuff out online about it as well. So.
Absolutely. Cool. Then Jimmy, actually, if you want to throw a link, and this actually goes for all of our panelists, if you want to throw a link to your company real quick, just into the chat. So I'll include those in the roundup email tomorrow with the recording and make sure all that info gets out there. But if there's any particular content that you think you think the audience would be great to look at, throw that in the chat. But let me see here. I think. Oh, and actually, this is, yes, for Christine and Jimmy. One person wanted to know if they should have SMS triggers for cart and browse abandonment if they already have them for email. Is it overkill to do on SMS and email?
I don't think so. I mean, Christine might have some different answer there, but I think that because the way that people interact, again, just kind of proving out earlier, like some people like email, some people like SMS. It's important to be on both channels and you'll start figuring it out. But I mean, as long as you have a reason for it, it's definitely something that you've got to do in front of you. So yeah, I don't think there's a problem with it. I think you should be using it as much as you need to.
I agree. Just don't have the same messaging go out at the same time, because that could be awkward. So just vary a little bit there, but definitely have both.
Gotcha. Well, great. Easy peasy. All right, I don't see any other questions in the chat. I would say, since we have about 2 minutes left, from all of our panelists, if there's one thing to keep in mind for the summer, if you had to sum up just like one core thing, what would you tell brands? I kind of with regards to your own solution, or just in general for maybe what to expect or what to do. One super easy question, I know.
I would say if you don't have SMS, look into getting it up and running now. It's been a huge channel for our brands and really successful.
I would say if we were thinking about data this summer, which is going to be really unique because of all the people traveling, I know typically everyone tells you about like the short 30, 60 or 90-day segment. This might be the time where you need to open it up and save some of those segments for when the summer is over and see if people re-engage in September potentially as well too, just because, well, a lot of emails are going to get missed and a lot of SMSs are going to be missed this summer, traveling on planes and traveling and out in the fun. So making sure that you're not deleting or exiting customers too early right now and making sure you're kind of keeping that core data so that you can see it later on in the fall and making sure as the holidays come on that you're thinking about that.
Building off the back of that, and I'm not going to pretend this is an original phrase or anything, but I heard it on another webinar and it just resonated so well that relevancy is the new currency for customers. So the more personalized you can make that content, feeding through all of your data points across into your email, your SMS, give customers reasons to stay subscribed with you and really clearly communicate the value of staying with you over the long term.
Right.
Mine would be, don't assume you know what makes good content and bad content until you've tested it, because you might find some surprises.
Oh, I wish I could say that again. I guess mine would be asking really great questions on site to help that on-site effort and just whatever marketing efforts off-site, like that can always impact it there.
And mine would be to always bring a hat no matter where you are and wear sunscreen no matter where you are, because you don't know what's going to happen.
There's a song after that.
All right, we are at time. Thank y'all so much for showing up and joining us today. Thank you, Chris, Jen, SJ, Jimmy, and Christine. I had a great time with y'all. So thank you again, and we will talk again.
Yes, thank you. Great presentation.
Thanks for having us.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.